and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 293. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Too Fresh Crash. What up, Crash?
Why do you gotta put so much energy into that?
Do you know what? Got a bone to pick with you already, all right?
Okay. All right.
I went back and listened to some episodes. I was doing some stuff, all right? And I'll explain that in a second. But you always leave a gap there. There's always a gap. Like, the episode didn't start properly and you just left an open air gap. Like, that's not in the edit, people. That's Crash. That's Crash every week.
I gotta let it salivate the way you said it. I gotta let it sit in people's minds. And then I gotta comment about it.
It's like we're on a terrible delay on Discord. Like, you're just
know
like,
what it does?
Coming in now, Jeff.
Let me fully explain it.
Okay.
If I put a delay in it, what you say, it makes it seem awkward. So when I complain about it, the people are hopefully on my side. The people aren't on my side. I just
the people don't like. The people love Too Fresh Crash.
I know. I hate it. So I need to try and make it seem awkward to turn them against you. It's not working.
Never gonna
happen.
One
day
with these glasses and this beard and this haircut, never gonna happen, brother. Never gonna happen. I'm sorry. Never gonna happen. The people are I'm man of the people, Crash. You not seen my gif? I'm the man of the people.
I haven't seen the GIF.
Yeah, because you're
I've
trash.
not seen
And
the fact that you're man of the people.
We got a new name for our other host this week. It's called the Sleepy Boy, Matt P. Video. Matt, explain to the people what's going on.
So apparently we'd agreed a 9:30 record time, and I was convinced it was 10 a.m. And so you just text me asking if I was awake. I was in the shower, so like I'm fresh.
Okay,
I'm feeling good, but I did sleep in a little bit, mainly because I was up until 3 a.m. playing a game that I'm sure we'll chat about in a bit.
I'm sure we will indeed. If you don't know what My Xbox and Me is, My Xbox and Me is our weekly Xbox podcast here on youtube.com/MyXboxandMe and across all podcast services. Nah, you may have seen it. You may not have seen it. Everyone was out there posting their chartables. Everyone was out there, oh, look, our podcast is number 1 in the rankings. Oh, our podcast is in the top 10. Nah. I want to let you all know, I've been on Chartable from day one. This podcast has been on Chartable for a very long time. Just seeing me out there bragging about it when we cracked the top 20? No. Just seeing me? No. Do I do it? No. But, you know what? I did check something. Reviews. See, you get all the reviews of the podcast, right? We haven't had a new review since 2020. Early 2020.
Oh, come on.
My Xbox and Me audience, I need you. I need you. I need you to go to your favorite podcast service, preferably Apple, if I'm being honest with you, because that's where the rankings really, really, really matter. I need you to drop a 5-star review and a very nice, this podcast is amazing. Matt P's amazing. Too Fresh Crash, I love his curls. Amazing. Even if you don't even look at the video, it doesn't matter, all right? We need you. What I will say is shout out to the people from South Africa who listen to this show. Shout out to the people from New Zealand who dropped a review, who watched this show. My Xbox and Me is worldwide, baby. We've done it. It's crazy.
I love it.
Real talk, it's crazy to me that, like, anyone listens to this show week after week, but the pure fact that people listen to it from outside of, like, England or America is crazy to me. So I want to see if you're from Uganda, Istanbul, I don't care where you're from. I want to see you dropping reviews because it shows me where you're at and it matters. We charted in the South Africa chart the other week. Madness.
Should have tweeted about it.
Do you know what? Maybe I should have. Crash. Remember, you can get the show early over on patreon.com/mcfixer. I'll be honest with you, we've been a little bit behind due to embargoes and things like that. It's just the way it works, though. I promise, Patreon supporters, you're getting more. It will come. I promise. And yeah, that's the rigmarole this morning. Obviously, big shout out to our Patreon producers, Erengard, FNH Paul, and our new one this week, guys. So let's get a round of applause for the one and only Low Key Mike.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike, for your patronage and your support, my dude. It helps a lot. Also, don't forget to go subscribe to the YouTube channels. It really helps us grow. Topic of the show this week, everybody. I don't know why this was such a shocker, but I'll hit it with you anyway. Microsoft confirms it doesn't make money from consoles.
What?
Shocker. Absolute shocker. I cannot believe it. Microsoft has come out and confirmed it doesn't make money from its Xbox sales. It's all about the software. This one was written from Windows Central by Robert Carvel, it actually says. More interesting, Microsoft news has arrived thanks to Epic versus Apple trial, as part of the line of questioning revolving around the differences between app stores and console versus mobile, despite the fact they both take 30% of revenue cuts. Blah, 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 blah. Microsoft's revenue model for Xboxes were brought up. Laurie Wright, Microsoft's head of Xbox business development, was asked how much margin Microsoft makes via console sales. Her reply was straightforward. Quote, "We don't." End quote. She said, quote, "We sell the console at a loss." End quote. It was left unclear whether Microsoft ever profits off console sales, as later on in the life cycle of hardware, then outdated components typically become cheaper to produce. But even when a console becomes cheaper to produce, at the point of a device life cycle, it also typically sold for a loss. We'll leave it there on this one, guys. Wasn't this kind of obvious? Didn't we already know this?
Yeah, this is something that like we've talked about for so long and has been talked about so long on past generations as well. It's not just this generation. So I don't know why when this blew up, everybody was talking a whole bunch of ish about Microsoft and they don't make profits off their consoles and whatnot. And it's like, I think the only console that makes a profit is Nintendo. And I don't even think that's all their consoles. It's like across the board. Hardware is expensive and they undersell to get it into your homes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you look at gaming PCs, right? And if you want to build your own gaming PC that matches the spec of a current generation console, you're looking at spending a lot more than a current generation console. And that's just the way it's always been. I think sometimes we forget, right? We're in the top 1% of gamers, right? We know this.
Yeah.
Each generation, this is not news to us. But to your average gamer who's jumping in, they might be shocked to read this, right? To your sort of, person who got in, young person who got in on the ground floor of Fortnite and now considers themselves a gamer all of a sudden, they might be interested to read this on IGN, right? And when news comes out like this, it's not a shock to us, but to the 99%, maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, it was just I saw the fanboys obviously doing what fanboys do best, which is like, ha ha ha, your console doesn't even make a profit. I'm like, bitch, neither does any console. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is so stupid. For me, it's like, number one, you're 100% right, Matt, which is, I think sometimes we forget that we live, and I think I forget especially, we live in our bubble, right? Our world of like video games and Netflix and all of the entertainment purposes and Disney Plus. And though the numbers are large that use it, it's not the same level that dive in deep and do a weekly Xbox podcast about it. And I think sometimes I lose touch of that and forget that, like, not all. Perfect example for this week is I got my Resident Evil Village collector's edition, right? Took a photo, I threw it up on socials. Saw some people tag me saying, I didn't know they brought an Xbox version out of this. I thought it was just PlayStation. What? Like, what? Like these are people that follow gaming and they just don't know some of this information. So, yeah, I definitely feel like it's, sometimes we forget. Sometimes we forget that, like, oh, yeah, this is not obvious to everybody. But, yeah, no who's shocker here. And that's always been the play. Why do you think Game Pass is $1? Why do you think they need gold still? Because it makes ridiculous amounts of money. Why do you think sales for their games, obviously, they take their 30% cut? Like, obviously, this was the business model. Always. It's just weird to me.
Why fight for marketing on a game as well, If, like, getting sales on your console doesn't really matter as much as selling consoles, why go for that?
Yeah.
Do you think... So, these consoles are sold out, right? Everywhere. Always. Difficult to still get an Xbox Series X or a PS5. S is a little bit easier, but still difficult.
Yeah.
Still difficult. Do you think there's any world in which Sony or Microsoft raise the price of these consoles at any point?
Nope.
To try and counter that a little bit and say, well, look, they're selling out everywhere. Let's just make a little bit more change on them. People will still buy them.
They
Yeah,
no,
They'll-
but
I think I agree.
You
but
couldn't, right, Crash? Go
Yeah,
on.
you'd be the villain so quick as soon as
Sure.
you do that. Even a lot of your own fans, especially the fans who can't get that console and they keep refreshing the pages and they're in tune with all the Reddit pages and whatever to try and find
Yeah.
out when they're in stock. As soon as that happens, they are going to hate you and they are likely to jump ship to the other side. Like, you know what? I've been trying to get this PS5 or I've been trying to get this Xbox. I don't care. You raise the price by 100, by 50, by whatever it is. You might be trying to fight scalpers or whatever it is, but in
Well, that's it.
reality, you hurt me, not them.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's common business practice to say, "Hey, I'm selling out of all of my stuff. Let me raise the price because obviously there's demand there for it, and yada yada yada." I know, it would be insane for Microsoft or Sony to do it, but
I just
it would
think
be interesting to see if somebody
look,
did.
look at we've got precedent for this, right? Of like it not happening. The Wii U, sorry, the Wii, not the Wii U, definitely not the Wii U. The
You
Wii,
could get a Wii U
and
if you
then
wanted a
even
Wii
if
U.
you want to go by the Switch, because at one point they were selling that. There's still the bunch of news come out about that this week, which was absolutely crazy. The attach rate to that console is mad, right? Like I just don't think. I don't think it would ever happen, number one. I don't think Microsoft needed to happen. We're seeing them we spoke about it last week, right? They had like a crazy profitable quarter. They're selling more Game Pass to people. They're selling more games than they ever have. Like, again, now is a great time to be an Xbox player and live on this ecosystem. So they need no bad PR. Like, to me, E3 scares me for Xbox. Because if they have an underwhelming E3 this year, and they're the only ones at E3 in terms of like the big part. Remember, we own Bethesda now. I say we. I'm not actually at Microsoft. I'm just talking for the context of this conversation. They own Xbox now, so they own Bethesda now. So is Bethesda gonna have their own? I own Microsoft now. So are they gonna have their own show? Probably not, right? Because they're gonna need those. Whatever those announcements are, which who knows what they are. They're not gonna have that on that show.
I thought I heard a rumor last week that they were going to maintain their own E3 conference. I can't remember where I heard that, or if it's complete nonsense, it may well be, but I'm sure I did hear it somewhere. And so I part of me thinks they will keep it separate. They
be smart if they did. I thought Microsoft would want that big hype moment of Elder Scrolls or whatever it is.
Maybe you can still do it, right? Like you have the Epic, you have the Bethesda conference first, maybe, and then say, hey, you want to see more of this thing? It's going to be at Xbox as well.
Which they've done, which Bethesda have a history of doing as well.
Exactly. And so I think you still tied in. Sorry, Crash. I
think at this point, even if they were to keep them separate, even if there were any blunders on the Bethesda side, that would fall very heavily on Xbox, and especially now that Microsoft acquired them.
And I think the big thing here is Bethesda have had some bad shows, in my opinion, where it's just a case of, we've got this weird musician, well, not a weird musician, but they've got this musician that comes out and does it, and we're like, okay, cool, but where's the games? And then the games we do see are mobile titles and things like that, where you're like, this didn't need to be as long as it was, and then though it doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of things for internet people comparing shows, I do think from a mindshare point of view, it does matter, where it's like, you just need as much good PR as possible, in my opinion. But who knows? Who knows?
To circle back to the beginning of this, sorry, quickly before we leave. I think it's interesting the amount of news that's coming out of this Epic Apple
we've got a question about that later, so hold it. And
cool. I was going to bring it in now, but
hey, the show's changing. We've got a better host. Please do it. Go.
No. Well, okay. We're here now. So we had a question on the Discord from A Wild Yami Enters, who said thoughts on the Apple Epic case trial so far. I think it's fascinating, right? The amount of news that's coming out about this. I feel like Sony, if they're paying attention, have got to be a little bit miffed about the amount of stuff coming out and people saying, oh, it's difficult to do this, or we have to pay for this on PlayStation and not on Xbox. I think they came out and said, Fortnite came out and said they had to pay for crossplay on PlayStation, and that hurts, right? Again, we are the 1% that keep an eye on this stuff and care about this stuff. Everybody else playing their PS5, Fortnite on the PS5, doesn't care that the Epic had to pay for crossplay, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and
It's crazy, right? Because I was sat there listening to it on the Game Awards for some reason. Don't ask me why the Game Awards decided to stream it, but they did. So I'm sat there listening to it. All of them on their like £2.50 microphones. Can't hear anything
God,
really
stop that.
properly. It's really annoying.
I know.
But,
We've been in a pandemic for a year. Like, invest.
Yeah,
Get yourself
crazy,
a mic.
crazy. But yeah, I was just a bit shocked. All in all, I was like, oh, like hearing a lot of this stuff where I'm like, everything I have always thought about Sony in terms of their business practices, and we've always said how Sony is a company, not PlayStation. Sony as a company are so heavily reliant upon PlayStation to make them money. Like unlike Microsoft, though now it's starting to move in that direction, right? Of like they're making their money, but Xbox was just a very small branch of Microsoft, and we always used to hear the rumors of like, oh, they're gonna get sold off, they're getting shut down. Like those conversations were happening at a time when I was doing this podcast early on, right? Now you look at it when you're like, especially Sony, some of the stuff, I love all the stuff that got leaked, where like I was listening to I guess it was one of the lawyers, like, yeah, read this section, but don't read over here. And it was like reading this quadrant because this has already been taken out and redacted and all these lawyer words that I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, sir, but sure. But yeah, I found it extremely interesting, and it's weird to think how much I love video. I tweeted it. It was like, man, I love video games because there's no way on earth I'm sitting here listening to lawyers talk about a lawsuit about Apple and Epic, and then Microsoft are now involved, and PlayStation get totally, like you said, opened up in such a bad way, which is like,
Yeah.
they're not friendly. And we spoke about it last week. I think I mentioned about how devs that I've spoken to have always found it a harder time to get their games on Xbox, right? Like traditionally in that early stage of Xbox One, where now it sounds like it's the opposite of like, oh, not to get your games on the system, but like the little extra things that we all want and take for granted, right? Like we all want crossplay, we all want cross progression. Like those are things that we think should exist across each of the ecosystems, including mobile. Like everywhere it should exist. But only one company that we know of so far is like, if you want that, you're paying us, and it isn't the evil corporation Microsoft, as people like to paint them. Weird, very very weird.
I think you brought a really good point where it's like Sony needs that PlayStation money. Microsoft doesn't need the Xbox money. So if Xbox has crossplay, it's like, cool, that's great for us. We're not reliant on that. I do think with like the Epic versus Apple stuff, it's so interesting how much like information's coming out that you wouldn't assume is relevant to the case at all. Like, Microsoft has this many games that they didn't show last year that they were expected to show, and Sony and all this stuff. And it's like, why is that relevant and why is that even being talked about at all? I just don't get it.
It's fascinating, isn't it? And I think I think Epic has done what it wanted to do with this, which is blowing the industry open, right? And being like, hey, we need to be more transparent about this stuff because some services are treating us way better than others, and yada yada. And people keep talking about it like this David and Goliath thing, right? Like, oh, little Epic taking on the big guy Apple. Epic aren't little. They're not the little underdog.
But they were.
Sure.
Like, take your mind back to when Fortnite got announced.
100%.
Epic were. What was that game they had on PlayStation? Paladins? No, not Paladins.
Epic had.
What was that game? The one that Andrew used to absolutely talk about all the time. I can't remember what it's called.
Unreal Tournament.
No, it was definitely P. It was definitely like, I don't know what it's called. It doesn't matter.
It was like a MOBA, right?
Yeah, it was a MOBA. Like that was
Paragon.
their Paragon. That's the one.
Yeah.
That was like they had that. Epic had obviously they had done Gears for a while, and then obviously that had gone. And it's like, what is going on over at Epic? And then the Fortnite comes out and launches and doesn't do well, and then Battle Royale, and now they are the company that they are. Crazy.
I think that's the one thing everybody always forgets about Fortnite. Fortnite at first was like a survival game.
I pre-ordered Fortnite. I paid for.
You're one of those
people. Fortnite. I was really into Fortnite. I thought it'd be great, and me and a mate played it for a little while. And yeah, it was save the world. It was this co-op zombie horde mode shooter. And then they looked at PUBG and went, oh, that looks good. We will do that in Fortnite and make it free so that we're not ripping off our own client here and all these things. And it became the biggest thing in the world, right? So It is
Crazy.
fascinating, the information coming out about this stuff. And
Yeah.
like I say, we're the 1%, we care, but they're blowing the doors off this industry to make it more transparent. And I think it's only going to be beneficial to smaller devs, all developers in the long run. And so it'd be interesting to see what ends up happening. They must settle, right? They're just going to have to settle, and it's not going to go much further. But
I don't think
who
they
knows?
do. That's a. I think I think you hit a nail on the head, which is like Epic are just sitting there rubbing their hands together again. Yep, this has all got leaked. Now we've shown the way the industry really works, and I think they're going for the jugular. And again, like Xbox, I was listening to the lawyer speak again. It's like, I'm listening and going, oh, they've got you here, Xbox, because yeah, you do charge 30%. And then like Epic are just sat there going, no, we don't charge 30%, we charge 12 or whatever it is. And it's like, oh man, Epic come across this sounding so good. Okay, I've got no camera. Interesting.
You got
yeah,
hard
I've
fix,
gone
you got
black.
hit-
Don't worry, we'll keep going. Tell you what, Chris, can you do me a favor? Can you go into Fixer's sack for me and read some questions while I figure this out?
Sure. Let's jump into Hushed Casket asked. Now that we've got Resident Evil Village and are looking forward to Halo Infinite, how should games please longtime fans whilst attracting newcomers to the franchise?
I think this is a fascinating question, and I'm sure we will get on to Resident Evil Village and chat more about it. But I think it's a brilliant question because I think me and Fixer are going to have very different opinions on Resident Evil 8, and I'm excited to have that chat. Personally, I think Resident Evil Village and Resident Evil 7 before it have done this in a fantastic way, and I'm not sure that's a particularly popular opinion. But yeah, it is so difficult to do this, right? To attract new fans whilst pleasing the original fans. It's the reason that video game movies all suck, right? Like, you can't please both those audiences. You can't bring in that mainstream new 99% while satisfying the original fans. It's super difficult to do. Crash, can you think of anything off the top of your head that like does it well?
I can't think of a video game, but I think if you look at what Marvel did with the Marvel movies, because if you look at in general, like Iron Man and all those characters,
Sure.
a lot of those characters aren't actually exact copies of the comic books. They copy the feel of the comic books, which I think Resident Evil 7 was the rebirth of Resident Evil in a lot of ways, where it was sort of like it's back in the mainstream and all this. It is taking the core ideas and themes and the feel of those IPs and those characters and what have you, and bringing it to a new medium or a new generation. And I think that's what games really need to do, and look at like, okay, we want to bring back Splinter Cell. What really is Splinter Cell, and how can we incorporate it in a game today?
Not sure what's going on with the camera, lads. So it's gonna be off. You've got an image of me holding my Resident Evil Village on the episode. Apologize. I agree. I haven't finished Resident Evil Village. We're gonna talk about that in what's in our box. We'll get deep dive with that. The thing for me is I always feel like you need to keep the core of what the game is, and that's always my. Though Resident Evil has done that, but it has changed the camera angle in such a drastic way that for me as a long-time fan, I've been talking to my friend Bibby over at Ice Cream Uploads, and he's a huge Resident Evil fan as well, right? And we haven't, but neither of us have finished the game, so there's no spoilers here. But we both went, don't think this is us. This is not our Resident Evil anymore. This isn't what we grew up playing. Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica. You know, this isn't our series anymore. And somebody said it in chat, and I think it was the perfect analogy for me, where I was like, I never thought of it like that, which was this. Everybody did that with AC. Remember when Assassin's Creed came out? And I played 1 and 2, thought they were fine games. Really enjoyed 2, but thought they were fine games. It wasn't anything spectacular, right? And then obviously you look at Origins, and I went to Egypt because of the damn game. You look at Odyssey, and I'm like, I love that. You look at Valhalla, and I really enjoyed that. But hardcore fans, such as Crash and other people, have been very, very critical of you too, Matt, have been very, very critical of both of those titles. Like, extremely critical, right? So, for me, it's a case of, what's the actual question here? Like, do I need to give an actual answer? I think you need to keep the characters. That's always, so far for Resident Evil, for me, I can get over the camera. I think the gameplay's really good, which again we're gonna get in deeper very, very soon. The gameplay's very, very good. But I could not give two craps about Ethan Winters and the story going on here. And that's what breaks my heart the most about the game so far. But we'll get in deeper. It's about keeping the core characters. I don't know about you, Kresh. Is like for Assassin's Creed, like I know, is it Damien in Assassin's Creed? Damien? Desmond, thank
yeah.
you. That, like, was he so important to you that you needed to see that story arc end? And did you get to in the way you wanted to?
Like, I think first of all, they get rid of the character, like, when he's at his peak. Like, he gets at the best the character's been, and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna get rid of him now.
Spoilers for a 10-year-old game at this point, sorry.
But that's not really, like, my problem with Assassin's Creed. It's just that the main idea around the games just seems to sort of have gotten diluted and more diluted over time. And occasionally it sort of kind of comes back up, but never quite in the way that I'd want it to. Where, like, if you look at Assassin's Creed 1 and the idea behind that, and then compare it to something like a Valhalla or an Origins or an Odyssey, it's like it's so far apart that it's really unrecognizable just based off the themes in the games.
I think Assassin's Creed as a specific example is really interesting because I feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot with the concept of the game. If Assassin's Creed had just been, this is a dude, Altair, this is the year, and you're playing his life. Sorry, knock the desk. If it had nothing to do with Desmond, I think they would have been better going forward. But they introduced Desmond, they introduced this modern day element, and they had to double down on it going forward. And every single review that came out for those games all said the same thing. The game's great, and then you get thrust into the real world and you have to play as Desmond as crap. And it slows down and da-da-da. And they kept it going. If Assassin's Creed had been like an anthology series that loosely tie into one another, and you're just jumping between all these incredible environments and time periods and playing as these characters who, yes, are all part of the Assassin Templar war that's going on, and there is this big overarching story, but they didn't keep thrusting you into modern day, I think they would have been better off. And I think it's, we talk about Resident Evil. There's an issue there where, for me, the best parts of that game, Resident Evil Village and 7, are the parts when it's not a Resident Evil game. It's a horror game, and I can forget the Umbrella and zombie, like, these things are going on. And that's the parts of the game that I really love. And I think, something that did this really well, I think, is God of War. Now, I'm sure there are some God of War fans out there from 1, 2, and 3 who didn't like the 2018, 2016 like quote unquote reboot, right?
Yeah.
It was a massive leap for that franchise. And I'm sure some people didn't like it, but it's telling a brand new story. Yes, you get hints back to that old world, but you can jump in fresh and really enjoy it. I think they nailed it. And I think probably what they did is they looked at the criticism and kind of the hole that they dug themselves in with the original God of War games, which was most people don't like Kratos and his character's not very good. How do we leap forward and change people's opinion around that one thing? And we keep coming back to it. I think Village, for me, has addressed some of the major issues.
Just hold on, Village, because we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Okay,
we're not
fine.
there yet.
I want to talk about the game.
We'll get there. Let's go through. I tell you what. We'll save the rest of these questions apart from one, which is Stead's question. I've sorted out my camera for the audio listeners, just so you're aware. I had to switch out my whole camera because I had a temperature issue. Yeah, don't ask. Stead says, with Final Fantasy VII Remake exclusively being further extended, do you think it's time for Microsoft to play, quote, dirty as well? PlayStation have no issue taking away games from fans. Maybe it's time Microsoft did the same. Yes. 1000% yes. Though, two-folded, right? Number one, I think this is terrible and I don't want it to happen. From a gamer point of view, right? Please.
Very quickly, give me some more context here because I think I've missed this news story. Have they come out and confirmed this game is going to be exclusive PlayStation for longer?
It was like text in the latest trailer. Is that reintegrated is 6 months longer. I don't know if that means all Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I did miss that. So, okay, sorry. Carry on, Vex.
So for me, it's twofolded, which is number one, from a gamer perspective, I think this is horrible. I think it's disgusting. I hate it. It really annoys the crap out of me. Just let people play the games where they want to play the games. I understand it. Nah. Second side, I understand it from a business, three-sided, I guess. I understand it from a business perspective, from Sony's point of view, which is, as we all know now, they need that damn money badly. They need it. So they need to be doing these deals. They need to be selling this DLC. They need to be making their 30% cut off the top. And it's a very smart business plan. It's very, very smart. Third and final point, which is, yes, unfortunately, Phil, I love you as a person. I think you're a great human being. And unfortunately, good guys finish last. Sometimes you gotta get in the trenches, and you gotta do some stuff that some people don't like. I think I'm a perfect example of that. I think I'm a nice human being as such, sort of. But sometimes you gotta do some stuff that you may not want to do. And I think that's what you have to do with Microsoft right now, which is your opinion, Phil's opinion in this case, Phil's opinion on time exclusives are bad for the industry, blah, blah, blah. All valid. But that doesn't help us as gamers, because we're losing out on experiences because Sony are willing to go and do that. Sony are willing to go and give Square Enix millions upon millions to get Final Fantasy 16 exclusive. What do we get? We got Yakuza for 6 months. Not a year. I don't even think it was 6 months in the end. Like, I don't think so. Like a few months earlier. It's like, I understand from my point of view, don't want it to happen, but from a Microsoft's point of view to its fan base, I think it owes it to be a little bit dirtier, a little bit grittier, and make some of these deals happen that need to happen, in my opinion.
So, what if the trade-off for these deals happening was you get less games coming to Game Pass?
Sure.
Okay.
But again,
I think
I'm in a privileged position where I get sent codes for almost anything now as my influence has grown. So for me, very easy for me to sit here and go, sure. Like, it doesn't impact me the same way as it impacts the other 20... I think it's 22 million in Game Pass. So let's say 22.115, like, sort of thing, like 500,000 content creators getting codes. I think that's probably even more than... I think it's even less than that, right? Like, it would be... What I'm trying to say is, it doesn't affect me. So I can easily sit here in my noble chair, in my throne, and be like, yes, doesn't bother me. Where other people, that impacts them immensely. So yeah, I get it. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, for me, there's like 3 points of view. Is one, for this to happen, I would assume that less stuff ends up going to Game Pass. They end up pushing less for Game Pass. Not saying they don't push stuff for Game Pass. It's just that you have to equal it out. You want more games to be coming to Xbox. You want to get those exclusive deals. Maybe you don't push for it to be in Game Pass because that costs even more than that. Number 2, Microsoft has done this in the past. It hasn't done it in the series lifetime, but it did that way back, most notably Tomb Raider.
Yep.
Huge failure with that. So Microsoft probably looks at that and they're like, maybe we don't do that.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Though you are 100% right, we are a different Xbox now.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely 100% agree. But maybe Microsoft is looking at it like, do we risk that? Do we risk going ahead? We have all this great press. People love us. They're like, we're pro-consumer. We go ahead and we're like, okay, we're going to make this timed exclusive. Does Microsoft risk that good share that they've had? And they've had a lot of really good, a good relationship with the consumer as of late.
Matt, let me quickly, what I would say is, the reason this has to happen at some point, or only has to happen at some point, is if Xbox do not produce on the first party front. Which, to this day, through the Xbox One life cycle, to even me sitting here today, we are as dry as a desert. Dry as a desert right now. So, Sony, on the other hand, have had Spider-Man, Last of Us 2, God of War, Horizon. But the list can go on. I'm not sitting here acting like we haven't had any games, but we've had Gears, Sunset, Forza.
You're going a long way back to call out Sunset there, which kind of proves your point, right?
That's what I'm trying to get to. But for me, it's a case of they have to deliver. Fable has to deliver. State of Decay 3 has to deliver. Everwild has to deliver. And
Halo.
I don't think Halo's not going to deliver. I already know it's not going to deliver. Because not from the fact of it's not going to be a great game. It's people's expectations for that game are so out of whack already. I see it all the time. And I'm like, I don't know what you're expecting, but what I'm expecting is what we saw. You know? Like, we've seen what this game is. Like, it's going to look prettier. It's going to be more polished. Yeah. But we've seen what the game is. I don't expect it to be that different from that. So if you're not looking for an open worldish Halo, like, you're going to be extremely disappointed, I think.
I think the Halo conversation probably won't be all that based around the campaign. It'll be based around the free-to-play multiplayer. And if
I
they
disagree.
catch the zeitgeist with that, then I think they've won.
Nope.
Halo's constantly had this problem. Like, Halo 5, one of the best FPS multiplayers. Like, hands down, I think not
the
a lot.
difference is it's free to play. That's the difference.
Right, but it's Halo. Halo's always had this like strong fan base around the narrative. The multiplayer's there and people love the multiplayer, but it's also always around the narrative. Halo is its story. Halo is this epic journey. Halo is Master Chief. And for you to say that it's just multiplayer is sort of like separating the two.
I get
I'm
that's not what he's
saying.
saying. Yeah, that's not
what I'm saying is you know, Fortnite came out and nobody cared, and then there was a free-to-play battle royale that everybody played. Call of Duty, you could argue that the last two Call of Duty campaigns, they've been enjoyed, they've been reviewed well, but people are talking about Warzone still because it's free-to-play. And well, maybe not just because it's free-to-play, but because it's incredibly popular and free-to-play, and the free-to-play helps incredibly. I think if angled correctly, the Halo free-to-play multiplayer could be huge, especially on PC.
Let me interject there. Let me say it like this. Where is Fortnite? What platforms?
All of them.
Where is Call of Duty? What platforms? Just answer my question. Answer my question. No. Don't interject. Just answer my question. Where is Call of Duty?
All of them.
Okay.
Fight me.
Where is Halo going to be?
Xbox PC.
Okay.
And
wait. I'm not finished. I'm not finished. And who has the weaker sales in the console? Xbox. Whose fan base doesn't speak about their first parties as much? Xbox. Who doesn't push their games as well as their competitors on the first party front? Xbox. You're comparing apples to oranges here, which is Call of Duty is Call of Duty. Fortnite has dances and a beautiful art style which plays extremely well to children, and they got every content creator in the world to buy into it. Halo to me, I don't play Halo. I play shooters all day long. I do not play Halo because I just don't view it as like this. It's the ecosystem even around Halo. Very similar to Gears. Very, very similar to Gears, which is, in my head, is for hardcore players. And if you are not in that top 1% of hardcore players, you're not even playing. The skill level between Halo and Fortnite is apples to oranges. You jump on Fortnite with your friends to just have a good time and play. And the same thing, what you're comparing, last point, then we can move on, which is you are comparing a battle royale to a multiplayer. Two big differences.
Yeah, you're right. It's a huge difference.
Lawyered.
I think that if you look at the top 15, 20, 100 biggest streamers right now, I bet you 99.5% of them are playing on PC.
Yes.
And will play Halo on launch.
I agree.
But how many of them play after launch? How many of them keep playing?
Well, that's the question.
Because that's what's incredibly relevant. Yeah.
Once that sponsor check has disappeared.
Honestly, I think it has to come out with a BR. A lot of it's shown that like if people are going to stick with it, it has to be a BR.
Agreed.
I don't really think a BR is going to come. And I do think Halo does have a wild card, and that is the Forge mode. People go in, they make their own modes, they make their own maps.
Somebody will make their own BR.
That is really the wild card, but the chances of that playing out the way that it would be to make Halo the most popular game in the market right now is almost impossible, I think.
I 1000% agree.
And
Sorry, go on, Crash.
Mind you, I'm saying that as somebody I'm legitimately looking forward to Halo Infinite. I'm excited for Halo Infinite.
So am I. Like, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to playing it as well. But we cannot sit here. I love, people are going to come for me. I know they are. And it's fine. It's absolutely fine. But we are not about to compare Call of Duty, Fortnite to Halo. We can't. Because Halo hasn't got that mindshare anymore. It hasn't. I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
I'm sorry. I
think
don't
it
mean to
could.
beat you all
I
up.
think it
I'm sorry.
could. In a best case scenario world, it can. In a year's time, we could be talking about it in the same way we're talking about Warzone. I think. Maybe.
I
don't
think
know.
I agree with you. I think there is a possibility.
Nope.
I just think that possibility is so slim.
I want to very quickly circle back to the original question because we got
No,
pretty
we
sidetracked.
can't. We haven't got time. We're already going
come on.
extremely long. No, go on, quick. We're not even gonna get through the news this week. I guarantee it.
I was going to say, right? You said you said that good guys finish last.
Yes.
And the Xbox are playing the good guy thing. I think tactically, when you're in a situation like Xbox are, let's face it, they're in second place, right, to PlayStation.
I think they're in
I
third.
think you need. Really? Okay.
From a
Let's say they're in third place.
I think quickly. I think from a point of view of console sales to fans' market share, from third-party support, I think they're in third place compared. It goes PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox. Just because Game Pass is popular and just because the console is selling that, I still think they're in third place in that regard, in my opinion.
Fair enough. My point is, if you're in first place, you're playing a very different game to the people playing in second and third,
True.
right? And you tactically you need to play that game differently. I think Xbox are playing third or second place very, very well.
Yeah.
Just from a personal point of view, me and my core group of mates who last generation were playing on PS4 have moved to Xbox this generation and are thrilled with Game Pass and are playing Outriders and are really enjoying ourselves. I think those conversations are going to start to happen more. And so there's an interesting thing, right, where you say, do they start playing dirty? Do they start taking more exclusives? It'll be fascinating to see what happens this summer with E3 and Bethesda and what announcements get made and where they're going to go, yada, yada. I think with MLB, I think is a great example, right? If you bought MLB on PlayStation for 70 quid, you've kind of got to be second guessing that decision, haven't you? And saying, well, yeah. If I'd gone Xbox, I could have had it on Game Pass as well as Outriders and all these other incredible games. Am I making the right decision here? And I think so by not taking exclusivity, by giving Elder Scrolls 6 to PlayStation and saying, yeah, you can pay for it 70 quid over there if you want, but it's better on Xbox.
And we'll take our 70% cut.
Exactly. And it's basically just an advert for Game Pass because your mates who are playing on Xbox maybe did get in a little bit early. Maybe it's a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months exclusivity.
I don't think.
And then all of a sudden you're paying 70 quid for a game that people have been playing on a Game Pass service for £1 a month or whatever it is. I think it's actually kind of a good advert if you don't necessarily go full exclusivity. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this summer, basically, because I think that will be the stepping stone to see what Xbox's approach is with these kind of things.
Fair enough. Let's get into what's been in our box and finally break down Apex Legends Arena Crash.
Oh,
Talk
really?
to me,
Okay,
baby.
Yeah.
We're going there? Okay, fine.
I absolutely love this game mode. How much of it have you played, Fix?
I play about 3 hours.
You liking it?
I think it's fantastic. I am absolutely blown away by it. So I jumped on Apex just before Resident Evil came out for a stream, and I was like, oh, all right, should we play the BR mode or should we jump? I was playing with Pal. Shout out to Pal in my chat, and we play a bunch of Apex together. And I was like, oh, let's try out the arena mode. Like, I've always seen like not Overwatch, but Overwatch and like not League of Legends. What's the game? Valorant and those types of games. I've always seen them and never played one myself. Like, I've never really like the whole you get your money and Counter-Strike, you get your money and you buy your gun and all that stuff. Never understood how it worked and stuff. So I was like, oh, I'll jump in and play. Jumped in, got a clutch, killed all 3 people off the bat. Me on my own with my pistol, and I was like, yo. Is the skill level just bad, or am I really good? And then we played another game, and we won. And we played another game, and we won. And I was just like, I really like this. This is such a perfect complement to the Battle Royale. Perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
It also works like so well for the way you would think about it. Because I went into it thinking, how are they going to make a lot of these characters work? It's
Yep.
going to be so weird. And I think there are definitely like characters that are a lot stronger than other characters, but it is the balancing with the different prices and all that stuff. And there's certain abilities that don't work.
Yep.
And it just all meshes in together perfectly in this really weird way. I do think there are still some changes that need to happen before they add rank next season. But it all works so well. At first I didn't like the fact that you have to buy new guns every round, right? I die with the gun. I put purple. I paid for the purple. I want my purple.
Nope.
And then they take my purple away. It kind of makes sense with the way it works. It's a short game mode. I kind of wish the game mode was a little bit longer.
Nope.
I wish it was first to 5.
No, because you get into a tiebreaker. Did you get into any tiebreakers?
You get into a tiebreaker, yeah.
And so you can have if you're two well-skilled teams, you can have a long match. And that's what I liked about it. Go on.
Here's my problem. In a competitive way, by the time I figure out how to counter you, and a lot of times with it being first to 3, the match is over. Yeah. So for casuals, I'm fine with it being first to 3. That's cool.
Interesting.
But once competitive rolls around, once I'm trying to figure out how you play and counter how you play, it might be too late for me by that point. Where I feel, and that might just be like the competitive person in me. Like, I wish it was a little bit longer. I wish by the time that I figured out how you're playing and start countering you, it doesn't take you to get one sneaky win after I figure out how you play.
You could get good
back into it. I win most of my matches, Fix.
So why are you complaining? Shut the hell up, then.
Because it could be better. That's why I'm complaining. It could be better.
Honestly,
now's the time to complain.
I was really shocked. The maps work perfectly.
Very
perfectly.
Good maps,
And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I was a little bit bummed that I had to go play Resident Evil and knew I'd be playing Resident Evil for like the foreseeable future, because I could see me jumping in and really getting good. And I do think it's a mode that you need to play with friends, honestly.
Yeah,
or teammates like you play together regularly.
I've tried it solo. It is horrible solo.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people quit on me. Like they'll get killed, they'll complain, and they leave. And it's like, cool. Now it's a 2v3, and it's almost impossible to win in a 2v3. And then you get that second person leave, and then you're not.
I'm good, bro. I promise, Crash. I swear to you, I'm good.
You swear? Okay, we're gonna play at some point.
I swear to you, I'm good.
If you do not carry me every single match, I do not want to hear you say you're good.
Okay.
Don't hit me with that face. I do not want to. Fix is climbing to crank 90s again.
I've seen it, mate. With my own eyes now. Fix it.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it one of those things where you don't know, but the first few games it put you in against bots?
Imagine, I'd be so upset.
There's no bots.
I'd be so upset.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was an influx of not new players, but people who don't really
try it out
too much because it is a new game mode. Yeah.
I'd definitely be keen. I haven't jumped in yet, but from everything you two have said just now, I'm definitely more keen to jump into that than the Battle Royale mode, because I just get my ass handed to me in the Battle Royale mode.
I think it will help. It will help you get better at Battle Royale.
Sure. It helps you so much with team fights and just like awareness and reaction times.
One thing
I've been playing it on.
Sorry, go on, Crash.
I've been playing it on PC because I've been trying to get better at aiming and shooting on PC and movement and all that stuff. And I can already tell a difference, because unlike the Battle Royale mode, where it's sort of like you do the normal Battle Royale, you loot up, you walk around,
exactly.
You play it slow and whatnot. It's like you are constantly in a fight. You are constantly improving how you play.
Yeah, I think that would really help. One of the things I struggled with Apex was like sort of jumping in late, right, and not knowing the game very well, and not knowing, oh, I've picked up a DMR, right, and it's single shot, and like I'm all of a sudden in gunfight and I can't shoot, and I'm confused. One of the things that's actually really helping with that is I started Titanfall 2, and didn't realize how much crossover there would be between those two games. And
a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, and really enjoying that. Off your recommendation, Crash, last week, I think it was, that you said you played it. And yeah, I think it's a brilliant game. I'm not sure I'll probably finish it or go back to it now, but sort of put 3 or 4 hours into it and really enjoyed it, and it kind of just got me more excited to play more Apex.
You're there.
You're like at the end.
Oh, really? Is it not long?
That's right there. It's at the end. I clocked in right under 5 hours for my playthrough. It was like
really?
40 minutes, yeah.
Maybe I'll finish it.
What bit did you end at?
Did you do the mission?
Yeah, I did the time jump mission.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, you're like at the end.
Oh,
You're at the
really?
end. Yeah,
Okay,
you're at
fine.
the end.
I'll,
Yeah, you
I'll,
have like another 3 or 4 missions left.
I'll try and finish it this week then, because it's probably worth it for that then. But yes, very much enjoying that.
Now, the moment people have been waiting for, which is, of course, Resident Evil Village review impressions, thoughts from the one and only Matt P Video and MC Fixer. Matt, I think we should start with you, because I'm such a hardcore fan and have lots of opinions. I think it's probably best to start with you on this one. So,
Sure.
how are you feeling about Resident Evil Village?
Sure, yeah. So like you said, right? Let's
Initial
give a little bit of
thoughts.
context.
Yeah.
Sure, a little bit of context. So I'm not a huge Resident Evil guy, right? I've played, I think I've probably dabbled in 4 on the Wii. I've played
Best way to play
Resident Evil 2 Remake. Oh, really?
Real, no, that's not. I'm not memeing. No
Legit? Okay,
kappa.
fine.
No memeing. No kappa.
enough.
That is real. Best way to play Resident Evil 4 is on the way. Yes.
So yeah, played Resident Evil 2 Remake. Thought it was great. Played a little bit of 3 Remake. Not so much. Played 7 for the first time last week. Finished it and really, really enjoyed that game. You know, we talked about it on last week's episode. There is an issue with sort of characters and story in that game. It gets to a point where it asks you to make a decision, and from that point on, I feel like the game falls apart a little bit and forgets what it is, and becomes much less entertaining and sort of driving. 8, I think, is I adore this game. I absolutely love this game. I finished it last night. Like I said, stayed up till 3 a.m. I texted you, Fix. I thought you'd finished it as well, and said, I'm here. How long have I got to go? I ended up texting Vic Hood, who I work with, and she reviewed it for Tech Radar.
Oh, nice.
And she said, you've got about 3 hours left. I decided to not believe her and just was like, oh, I'll just finish it up. And there were 3 hours left, and I stayed until 3 a.m. playing the game. But I couldn't put it down. Like, I absolutely adored this game. I think there are some issues carry over from 7, right? And the main one you've already brought up, Ethan sucks as a character. Ethan is terrible. But everything else that I think failed on 7's part, mainly the fact that the motivation for why Ethan is doing what he's doing and why you as the player are doing what you're doing and the kind of difference there, right? In 7, you're going to save your wife, but the game just tells you have a wife and that you love her and you should go save her. And as a character, or as a player, sorry, you don't have that same connection. I think this does away with all of that. The motivation for why Ethan is doing what he's doing in this game, I think, marries up with me as a player.
Man, we're playing 2 different games.
Really? I think.
Let me.
You go.
So I still haven't finished Resident Evil Village, which I think on its own should tell you enough about Resident Evil Village from my point of view. That also being said, I've been making content and I've been overworked ridiculously amount. So maybe don't read it too much into it. I shot an unboxing for my collector's edition and I've streamed it and it's a different experience. I'll be honest with you. I really wish I didn't stream Resident Evil. And I think it's really hard because my life is my content, right? So it's really hard to not experience it. But Resident Evil is such a special series to me. But it's not only special to me anymore, it's special to Haley as well. And playing it without her there removes such a barrier of, I don't know, that emotional side of the game to me. Playing through Resident Evil Village for me, the opening is interesting. I think it does a good, the opening sequence, right? I think it does a good enough job of like, okay, let's go on this journey. And I, as a Resident Evil fan, also want to know more. As I've progressed, I'm probably about, I don't know, I've probably put about, it's a weird thing because the game clock doesn't add up to the amount of time I've streamed. Like the other day, because it works on pauses don't count. And I think it's anytime you're in your menu doesn't count. But it's weird. I streamed for like 8 hours, but only had like 3.5 hours game time. So
my game clock, I finished at 7 hours 44.
Interesting.
And I'm like, there's no way.
No way.
I think I put more like 10 hours into this game.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's
I think
going on there. I didn't leave it on pause or anything.
Did you die a lot?
Not a crazy amount. No.
So every time you die, the clock will go back to whatever your game in clock time would be. Because I know that from speedrunning and stuff like that. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Then that makes sense because the last boss fight took me a long time.
Got
so
it. So
that makes sense.
So it's
not 3 hours, but
Resident Evil Village is the perfect, from what I've played so far, is the perfect mixture between Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 7. It is. From what we saw, what they showed, they were very much talking about it like that, and that is what this game is. It's more grounded, it's more dark, it's more gritty in certain elements, and it's quite bright and vibrant in other elements. It's really good. It's really good. But my problem with the game as a Resident Evil fan is I haven't got to the part that I'm hoping. I'm at the back half of the game. And I'm hoping I've seen the Umbrella logo. And I've not seen the guy I bought a £200 statue for. I haven't seen too much of him yet. And I'm hoping that the back half of this game is going to give me what I want from the series, which is all the things I have hypothesized about, which it doesn't think that's actually true, unfortunately. I'm hoping it's going to end on a cliffhanger that the next game is going to be like, all right, we got these new people in, they're now caring, now let's give you, Resident Evil fan, what you want. But from what I've played so far, again, it's another crap character in Ethan with no character development, no reason to care about him, no reason to care about the things we are doing. The emotional side is just not there. The character I want to see, I haven't seen anywhere near enough of, which breaks my heart as a hardcore fan. Don't say anything. Don't spoil it. Don't just let me. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Go,
okay. I won't even get into that.
Don't even. Yeah. I'm gonna beat it today. So for me, I understand it from a new player perspective, and I understand it for someone like Matt, who's like, wow, this is now it's your series. Now the next game comes out, you want more. And you're hungry.
That's what I feel like. Seven was enough to get me in. 8's enough to drive that even further. And now when 9 comes out, it's a pre-order day one. I'm all in. But I get what you're saying. Like I said earlier on the episode, I think the best parts of this game is when it's not trying to be Resident Evil, right? I think some of the characters in this game are phenomenal. It feels like Bloodborne. It feels like I'm discovering Bloodborne again for the first time.
I 1000% agree with you on the Bloodborne comparison.
Yeah. Like the environments, the characters in those environments, everything that isn't Ethan is brilliant.
But Ethan isn't Resident Evil either.
Brilliant. Well,
yeah,
not anymore, right? Like I think you're right. I think 7 was a huge leap for them. 7 was their God of War 20. I can't remember that year that game came out.
7.
It's a big jump. Sure.
Whatever.
I said 16 and 18 earlier,
yeah,
so
who knows?
We'll get it there somewhere in the middle. It's such a huge jump, right? And I understand that they're gonna lose some of the fans, and maybe as a Resident Evil fan, this isn't what you want.
No.
As a brand new Resident Evil fan, I am loving this series now, and I can't wait to see what's next.
I think they know what they're doing. They understand that. They just come out and reported that it's had 100,000 concurrents on Steam for the first time ever. Like, they know that they've got their hooks in an audience that isn't me anymore. But what they are giving me is this CG film with the characters I do care about. And they are doing verses, which, though, it's the characters I care about, which I just don't really care about that game. My hope is that we're going to get a Resident Evil Revelations 3, and that is going to become my series. So it's going to be the third person. It's going to be a story about Leon or Claire or Chris or Sherry or any of those characters that I care about. And it's just like, this is for you, hardcore fan. Like, you want to play your old style in the RE engine, like Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 3. This game is for you. But unfortunately, this series, numbered-wise now, is not for you. And I think that's what breaks my heart the most, which is I wish they just would have come out and said it and been like, Resident Evil, they shouldn't have numbered them. They should have just, it should have been called, what's Resident Evil 7? It should have been called Resident Evil Biohazard. This one should have been called Resident Evil Village, and it shouldn't have been alluded to the fact it was 8. The next one can be Resident Evil Hut. Like, and at least then I don't have that expectation of like, you gotta think, I've just reviewed every single Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
Every single numbered game in the series. They've teased me with showing us Chris in this game. So I'm expecting some deep lore. I'm expecting to know what the hell happened at the end of 7. And I've got none of it. So far, I've got absolutely none of it. And that hurts. That doesn't take away from the fact it's a fantastic game. The atmosphere is fantastic. The sound design's fantastic. The graphics are absolutely phenomenal. The ray tracing is
incredible,
beautiful. Like, Kresh, jump in. Sorry, I know I've been talking a lot.
I have one question. So if you replay it and you find out there's a whole bunch of documents that sort of give you what you wanted, does your opinion on it change?
No, there isn't. There isn't. I know there isn't because I'm searching. They've done the Resident Evil 4 model of here's your map, and they let you go around the map. I don't want to say too much. I think even that's a spoiler. So you've got your map. It's very obvious where you have been and where you haven't been. And I'm doing everything because I want every single file. I want all of it. And I know for a fact that it's not that. That's the problems I have with Resident Evil 4 are the same problems I have with this game, which is it's a character which feels like a shell of a character to just get you through a phenomenal game. Resident Evil 4 is a phenomenal game, but its story is diabolical. And I feel the same with this game, which is getting creeped out. I've been creeped out. I've been scared. I've had jump scares. All the things you want from a Resident Evil game. I've had all of that. So I can't sit here and act like it's not good. I just have to sit here and say it's not what I would have wanted in terms of its story.
And I think that's the issue, right? Is that I think the issue is they called this Resident Evil. Like if Resident Evil 7 had just been called Biohazard, and this was a new franchise, don't even put Chris at the end of it.
That's the biggest problem. No, you're fine. Resident Evil 7 spoilers are fine, and we just see Chris in the trailer of 8. So
exactly. So don't tie it.
Nope, I agree.
Start a new franchise and call it
Not
whatever
even,
you want.
I don't think you need to start a new franchise. I think you just need to take the number out of it. If that wasn't Resident Evil 7, it was just Resident Evil Biohazard, I have different expectations for Resident Evil Versus compared to I do with Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sure.
Take the numbers away from it and turn the Revelation series into the numbers. So that's the hardcore. This is the offshoots, which is a different camera style, beautiful, amazing video games. But they know full well if it doesn't have a number on the end of it, it's going to sell less. They know that.
Yeah, exactly. They know, and that's the issue. That's the issue. They feel like they need to tie it into the Resident Evil universe, so they get people like you in.
Yep.
And it is doing them a disservice. And I think yeah, if this was just some weird, creepy horror franchise, I'd be so much more in. Because, everything that they try to tie it back in with, I just don't care. And I feel like are the worst parts of the game. But
see, I hope I get to that point, and I love it. I really hope that I get to because I know I've seen people's opinions, and everyone's like, I hate the ending. I hate the final parts of the game, right? That's what people have said. I'm just saying. And they don't like the tacked on quote-unquote Resident Evil stuff, where I'm like, I'm waiting. I'm sitting there waiting for the Resident Evil stuff to come.
I understand that criticism. I enjoyed it. Like there isn't a moment of the gameplay of this that I didn't enjoy. When I'm supposed to feel like a badass, I feel like a badass. When I'm supposed to feel overwhelmed and terrified, I feel overwhelmed and terrified. Yep. One of the major complaints I had about 7 was the lack of variety, right? Fighting the mold is not fun. They have smashed that out the park in this. Like, all the different types of enemies and monsters and bosses are fascinating. I think the bosses are a little more hit and miss. I would say half of the bosses are good and half of them are pretty rubbish.
I think all the bosses so far have been boring.
Wow. I need to know where you are.
I'm
in this game.
I'm 8 hours in at least. I've got 2 jars. No, I've got 2 jars and just got the third thing.
Wow. You didn't think getting the second jar was an incredible boss fight?
Nope. Nope.
Wow.
I think all the boss fights are boring.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're wrong.
I'm glad. It's nice to
getting that
opinions.
second jar was horrifying.
Interesting.
And wait, was it the second one? Maybe I'm thinking.
I think the one area you're talking about is the only area that's creeped me the fuck out because I'm scared of dolls.
Okay, sure.
So
we're talking
that
about the same
area
thing.
is very cool and scared the crap out of me, but the boss fight of it.
Sure.
Boring.
Okay, fine. Sure. I mean,
we're jumping around here. We can't say too much
because I thought it was. Yeah, exactly. The reason I didn't think it was boring is because I thought it was terrifying.
And,
no,
I think everything building up until the moment of the fight. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, we're thinking about different. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we are thinking about different things. Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
That's fine. Well, we need to do a spoiler cast where we can just speak openly.
We really need to do a
so we will do that. The game's been out a day. We're not going to spoil it for people.
Exactly,
It's not happening.
Exactly.
Crash, you had something to say. Go on.
So, Matt, have you played the Resident Evil 3 remake?
I played 3 or 4 hours of it.
Okay.
So he was
if
almost
you
at the
had
end.
Oh, really?
So you keep leaving these games almost at the end. So if you had to order everything from your favorite to least favorite since Resident Evil 7, since sort of like the resurgence of
So
Resident
remake 7.
Evil, remake 2, 7, remake 3,
Yep.
and then now 8. Where would 8 fall into that?
Oh, 8's top.
Okay.
No doubt in my mind, 8's top. I don't know. I think on any different day, I could order 2 remake and 7 interchangeably as like second place, because I feel like they're such different games. Like style wise, I think I'd probably put 7 above 2. I know this is killing you, Fix. I know. This is the thing when like kids tell us that their favorite games are Minecraft and Fortnite. It hurts our souls a little bit.
Mhm.
The same thing is happening here. The set like where like you're not a fucking Resident Evil fan, but I
Do you know
love
what?
this
Do you know what
game
I'll say
so
though?
much.
What I will say though is I'm very happy that people are enjoying these games, because I do think in part, like I said with the Revelation series, is as long as you keep getting what you want and I keep getting what I want, we can both be happy.
We can all be happy
Yeah.
together.
It breaks my heart for you to say that you think this is better than Resident Evil 2, but I can understand why you think that. You're wrong, but I can understand why you think that.
Fight me.
Yeah, go on, Crash.
You haven't given us your order, Fix.
I haven't finished it, so I think it'd be unfair for me to finish it. And as you well know, I have a series over on my main channel, youtube.com/mcfixer, where you can go and check out Resident Evil Revisited. I've just done 9-10 hours of podcasting about every Resident Evil game. So funny enough, I'm not giving you my order.
Got it.
And I had to play Resident Evil 6 again, so go and watch it, god damn it.
Oh, you got to play the best Resident Evil
Fuck,
game?
that game is so bad. It's ridiculous. Let's move on. We've got this week's dashboard. We'll try and rush through it due to the fact of we have gone a little bit longer than we usually do. Again, to people, let us know. Do you like the longer episodes? I like doing them because I feel with the free man, I feel like we get into a lot deeper conversations than we used to, right? But in the same breath, 2-hour podcast is way too long. I feel like hour and a half may be our sticking point. So yeah.
Sweet spot.
Resident Evil, jeez, I got Resident Evil on the brain now. Sony, this is this week's dashboard, by the way. Sony registers trademark for Xbox exclusive Sunset Overdrive. This was written by Jordan Ollerman. Jordan followed me on Twitter. We went back and forth. We're going to get him on the show. Shout out to Jordan. Does some great writing over on IGN, so we're going to get him on the show very, very soon. Sorry. It looks like Sony has registered a trademark for a previously Xbox exclusive shooter, Sunset Overdrive. Spotted by, is it Nibble? Was that how they say his name on Twitter? Nibel?
Sure.
Give me 1 second.
I think it's Nibble. The trademark was registered at the US Patent and Trademark Office in late April. It doesn't confirm anything, but is interesting given that Sunset was internally exclusive to Xbox upon release in its 2014 release. This hurts and gets me excited both ways. Everybody knows I have spoken on this podcast. I think Sunset Overdrive is one of the best Xbox exclusives ever. It came out at a time when Xbox didn't know what the heck they were doing, which hurts even more because that relationship could have been built and we could have been getting Spider-Man, let's say. Not quite, but you know what I mean. I'm happy for this, honestly. Deep down, as much as it's going to hurt that it won't come to Xbox, I'm happy that this lives on. I hope that they remake it or just give it a remaster in 4K textures or something and put it on PlayStation. I'd love a sequel as well, but I think PlayStation fans need to be able to experience it. So I'm happy for Sunset. I'm happy for Sony, and I'm happy for the Sony players to be able to get to experience it.
I slightly disagree.
Oh.
I don't need a remaster of Sunset Overdrive. Just give me Sunset Overdrive 2.
I think you are not realizing how many people didn't play the game then.
Yeah.
Oh, I know a lot of people didn't play the game, but I think it is one of those games that people know of, right? Like we keep talking about the 1% versus the 99% of gamers.
Yeah.
99% of gamers probably don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But I think if Sunset Overdrive 2 got announced at E3, there would be enough buzz around it to warrant there not having to be a remaster. Like, I don't think you need it. I don't think people are going to be like, oh, I didn't play Sunset Overdrive 1. You don't need to. Don't worry about it.
True.
Just enjoy number 2. Work on number 2. I think I think it does kind of still hold up, right? Like I jumped into it on Game Pass a couple of months ago, and sorry, go on, Fix.
It's not about holding up. I think it's just it was so criminally underplayed
Yeah,
that I think like I don't think it's at one point it didn't sell 1 million copies. Like I'm sure people have played it now because it's in Game Pass, but like it's so criminally under sold because it was a different time of Xbox and it just didn't work, unfortunately, for the market and the way they did it. But yeah, I feel like I would just like for people to play it even if we never saw a sequel. Just like let's put this out, let's put new guns in because I remember like they did a bunch of developer live streams and they always used to talk about the game. It's like, oh, you clearly care about this series still, and that's why they wanted to own the series, and they do own the series. Hence why Sony now own the series. But yeah, Crash, go on.
I think it would just be fantastic for people to get a look at the game. I agree with you. And it'd be a lot easier to do that and then work on the sequel. And you still get that buzz of like, oh, Sunset Overdrive on Sony. And for a lot of Sony fans, that is a new game and a new experience from Insomniac. I would argue it's one of Sony's better first party studios currently.
Definitely.
And so you get the promise of a sequel or like the hope of a sequel.
Tease,
and that's for Xbox fans, but for Sony fans, it is a brand new franchise. It is a brand new everything for them. It's their first dip in the water. And it is a great game. I think it plays fantastic. I think it has a lot of the Insomniac humor, the Insomniac guns. It has a lot of the stuff you love from Insomniac in that game.
Definitely. And this is a very personal opinion of mine, right? If they do a remaster, great. I'm not going to play it.
Yeah.
If they announce 2, I am. And so, yes, I understand from your point of view, from a business point of view, it's great if they do a remaster. Selfishly, I just want 2.
He wants what he wants.
I want it.
Speaking about something that people want, Phil Spencer hasn't given up on Xcloud for other consoles. More emails from the Epic versus Apple court case are trickling out, along with plenty of high-level conversations between various CEOs. One of the emails between Epic CEO Tim Sweeney and Xbox President Phil Spencer reveals that Xbox's interest in bringing Cloud on other consoles is ongoing. I also forgot to say it's written by Matt T.M. Kim at IGN. There were regular chatters that Xbox had ambitions to bring the service to systems that weren't at the Xbox. At its height, there were rumors the entire Xbox experience could come to Nintendo Switch. Instead, some Xbox Live functionality exists on Switch, and Xcloud is currently available on PC, Android, and iOS, though a slight workaround for iOS. I mean, this is good news, I think, from Xbox's point of view. I still think there's no chance on God's given earth that PlayStation put it on their system. I think the same thing applies probably to Nintendo, because you're eating away at their babies at that point. You really are. And where's the money made? Like, so if someone buys it through Nintendo, then you get a cut. Like, I just don't think it's enough.
I guess if you heard, if you base it kind of loosely on what Epic does with when you buy currency on another platform and then buy a skin on theirs, which came out during the whole Apple versus Epic thing, is that they give both sides a cut of it. So maybe if you do get Game Pass and then you play Game Pass on the Switch, they do give you a bit of the cut of whatever the subscription fee would be for that month per user.
So if you play it, if you use it on Switch, they get a percentage of the user using it, that money. Is that what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah.
That seems super complex. And don't get me wrong, it could get super complex. I'm not a businessman like that. I'm just a small-time pizza lawyer, you know? So, for me, go on, Matt.
I think this is a bit of a non-news story to me, to be honest with you, and something we will hear for the rest of time. Xbox are always going to be interested in making this happen. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. I don't think Xbox would ever give up on this idea, because why would they? For them, it's a huge plus. Like you say, the business sort of mindset behind it, or the reason it might happen, is huge on Xbox's side and not that huge on everybody else's side. So I don't think it's ever going to happen, but Xbox will always be interested in trying to make it happen. And so this news story to me is a bit like,
I mean, if you think about it, like, Microsoft makes their money off of software sales. And if they don't have to sell you hardware to sell you software, Microsoft's
They're not
looking
going
like,
to.
I love that.
Yeah.
I would be so down for that.
We're not going to make a loss on all these plastic boxes we keep making. Yeah, please give us that business model.
Yeah, so I think that would be great. Microsoft will always, I think even if Microsoft were to end up being ahead of like Sony and Nintendo at this point, Microsoft and Sony would Microsoft, not Sony. Microsoft would still be down to put it on their platforms, just because that's still a case of like we will have you playing our games on your platform. But I still think like there's no way Sony, especially. I think Nintendo, there's like an argument to be made of Nintendo's always suffered from the third party aspect. This could get third party games on their platform. Whereas Sony thrives on that third party. But even then, I don't see it really happening with Nintendo too much as well.
Fair enough. Let's get through a couple of these headlines really fast. Fable is being developed using the Forza Engine. I think this is humongous, to be honest with you. I think we all kind of assumed that anyway. But if anyone has ever played Forza, you know how good looking Forza is in terms of its... I'm not talking about just the shiny cars. I'm talking about the world itself, especially Horizon. If that's a perfect game to drive around the entirety of its map and just be like... Wow, like take the car out of this game and just think about a character running around that world. Madness, right? And then give those characters stuff to do. It could be really good.
It has me a little bit worried because engines are incredibly complicated, and we are talking about like a completely different style of game that I have trust in the team to like make it work and everything. But it could be a lot of work, and not necessarily that it won't end up working, just how far out this game actually is.
Oh, it's definitely far out. Oh, it's been. We knew it was far out.
I think it's farther out than we assume it is.
When do you think it's coming?
I don't think we see this game for another 4 or 5 years.
2024, earliest.
Yeah, I don't think
earliest. Like.
Yeah, no, I don't think we see it till 2025, 2026.
Damn. Okay, that's a bit wild. That's a bit wild.
Engines, and like, mind you, I have no clue like how their engine functions or anything like this, because engines have a lot of work and there's a lot of background stuff that needs to happen, and I don't know entirely how their engine works. There's a possibility that the way they constructed their engine allows for a lot of the stuff they want to do with Fable to work right off the bat.
Think about it. Let's break it down a little bit. Right? They've already got a way to customize your character. They already build in driving avatars, like you stand on the podium and stuff like that. Like they've got a lot of the. I think they've got a lot of the inner workings already built in there in the engine itself. And like I say, the world part is already done. It's going to be in England. It's Fable. They've already built England before, which is going to have helped. Obviously, it's going to look drastically different, but I feel really positive about this. Honestly,
I think it'll be fascinating to see what. If the first gameplay trailer of this game is going to be fascinating, because Fable is a very cartoony thing. It's a fairy tale.
I don't think it is anymore.
I agree. I don't know.
Honestly,
I have no idea.
From the trailer we saw,
it
didn't look. Yeah, it looked a lot more.
But that trailer,
if you will.
That trailer is probably as representative of the game as the Elder Scrolls 6 trailer was. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, we're so far out.
Yeah.
Who knows what is going to happen with this game? I think you're right, Crash. I think I'm with you. I'm slightly concerned, right? Like Forza is a so vastly different game to Fable that I wonder how well that engine will transfer. And like you say, incredibly talented team working on it. They'll make it work. They wouldn't have made this decision if it wasn't the best decision for them, I'm sure. And so fascinated to see what the first gameplay trailer of this is.
Can't wait.
It's also like this franchise is probably a bigger investment than the next game. So Microsoft's probably fine with them waiting as long as they need to get this first one working, and
they've got to get this right.
First one. Yeah, so that if they make sequels, that system's already in work and it's already flawless, and they can just keep going on and up that production time for future games.
100%.
Fair enough. Halo Infinite will support crossplay and cross progression between Xbox and PC. Microsoft has announced that Halo Infinite will support multiplayer cross progression across PC and Steam, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. And that's on the Xbox Wire. The move is being pitched by Microsoft as a way of, quote, building communities around games, not devices, end quote. Thought we already knew this again. Maybe I just assumed a lot of this news, but I thought we already knew all this.
Yeah, no, this is another one that came out, and it was literally the same case as like the consoles don't make profits, where
Yeah.
a whole bunch of people are making a big deal out of this, and it's like Gears of War
Has
5. I think Gears of War 4 did this.
Yep.
Where it was like cross-play flawlessly between the two platforms. Like, as far as Microsoft's concerned, that is kind of like one platform to them. It is just a different spot to have your save file located.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that surprised me about this headline was the mention of Xbox One. And I was
No,
like,
it has to
yeah,
come
this
to
game is
Xbox
still
One.
coming
Yeah.
to Xbox
Has
One.
to.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
They
it has
we
to.
were done
honestly
with
at
that
this
by
point they dug themselves into that grave, I feel
Yep.
like.
I know,
100%.
and I feel like it is a grave, and it will hold this game back a fair bit, unfortunately.
We'll see. More Halo news
We'll
came
see.
out, though. Former Halo Infinite dev talks cut content, crunch, and more. The What You Need to Know here on Windows Central, written by Brendan Lowry, says, what you need to know. A former 343 industry Skybox artist, Eric Lynn, has shared some perspective on the development of Halo Infinite in a public video posted to Bilby? B-I-L-B-I-B-I-L. I don't know what that is. Lynn commented on several topics related to the game's development, including his brief that Halo Infinite will be great, but not an impoaching making masterpiece. His belief that the game's executives were overambitious, the relations that some of the game's original concepts and content has been cut for the final release, and more. Notably, Lynn's statement also suggested that 343 industry staff have experienced or are experiencing crunch as they develop Halo Infinite. If you want to read the full article, you really should over on Windows Central. There's been a big talk about crunch in our industry for a very, very long time. And the thing I saw going around on Reddit for this one was more a case of like, should a company like Microsoft, who can afford to pay their staff and can afford overtime and things like that, which I do not know the ins and outs of if they are paying overtime and things like that, so do not quote me. I'm just saying, do we need this in our industry? Nah. I've always had an interesting point of view when it comes to crunch, right? Which is, I'm a self-employed man. I work ridiculous amounts of hours to make things happen in my business, right? And I think some people work very well under pressure and some people do not. Crunch to me is, and maybe I'm wrong for this, so please don't think that I'm just like sweeping this under the rug or speaking mean to anybody and stuff like that, right? But crunch to me has been a big part of my entire life. Through school, you crunch. I'm terrible at school anyway, but exams, you crunch. Now running myself a business, I crunch at work. I got out of bed literally the other day to turn my computer off after it uploaded videos. Is that a form of crunch? Because I'm still working. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, do you know what I mean by that? So for me, I'm just a little bit of like, I'm the people not wanting to stay at work, and false crunch, obviously, is where the problems lie, right?
I think the big difference between the situation you're giving is with you own everything you do.
True.
You see the direct revenue of it.
True.
You see all the benefits.
Benefits, yeah.
For a lot of people in game developments, they might get, okay, we're going to get paid overtime for this. But when that game sells 200 million copies, they're not getting a bonus. And if they do get a bonus, we saw it with
very
Project
small.
Red recently.
Yep.
They get like nothing compared to like the CEOs and whoever that barely probably did any real hands-on stuff with the game that were crunching the way they were.
Yeah.
So I think that comparison just doesn't quite live up.
Fair.
I think a big part of crunch as well is and the issues with it is the kind of unsaid nature of it being required or not. Like there can be a culture of like, well, everybody's working overtime to get this project that we're working on together done, and so then are you subconsciously being kind of forced into this situation where you feel like you need to crunch.
See, let me interject
Sorry,
there, yeah? Which is, no, I want you to continue, but I think it's, and maybe I'm wrong because I've never been in that situation. Again, I've only worked in retail my entire life. I have a big personality. I do have a big personality. And I think if everyone's bought in and doing it, yeah. But the moment I don't want to do it, I'm getting up and not doing it and saying to my boss straight away, hey, I'm not doing this. So do you think that comes down to the person, or like you said, again, I want to be very clear on I'm not for crunch, and I'm not one of these people that would want people to be crunching to make video games or entertainment perspectives, because I can hear the way I'm speaking may give that tone across. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But do you think that comes down on a person by person case? Because some people work better at night. Some people would love to get in starting at 8 o'clock at night and just work all the way through and stuff like that. Like, just to interject there a little bit.
No, you're absolutely right. It's definitely person by person. Another factor of this though is like, yeah, you can have that mindset, right? Of I work my 9 to 5 and I get paid for that, and that's what I'm going to do. And company policy might be on your side, right? Of like, yes, that is what you do.
Yeah.
If you're then part of a team, right, and you're working with these people every single day, and these people are your friends, right?
Yeah.
If they're crunching, it's very difficult to get up and walk away, right? And go, I love you guys, but I'm working my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily have that mindset. And so then, and it is a team mindset, right? Of like, we're in this thing together. We need to figure this thing out together. And, every team is different. Every person is different. Every situation is different. And so it's so difficult to make a call, right? And look, ultimately, I think people should probably work their 9 to 5 and get out of there and be able to detach. I think that's potentially the healthiest way to work. But, young people who are really passionate about what they're doing, who want to put the real effort in and work really hard on it and see the benefits of it, maybe they should be allowed to do it. I don't know. Especially when you, like you say, working for yourself, whether or not you get paid at the end of month fix is based on you
what I do.
In the work, right?
Yeah.
And so, but that's not the case for everybody, right? It's not the case for me, right? I get paid at the end of the month as long as I don't get sacked.
Yeah.
Please don't sack me. For doing the work I do, and so it is a different situation. I think one of the interesting things here as well is you said a company like Microsoft, right, and with all the resources and sometimes these things can't be fixed by throwing money at them. Finding the right people to solve the right problem, to onboard them into the company is a incredibly difficult process. And so, look, you can say that, this multi-billion pound company like Microsoft shouldn't have this issue. But the truth is, like, it's so incredibly complex to fix these problems, and you have to see the problem so far down the road to be able to hire the right person to be able to, fix the problem. A lot of these problems occur and need to be fixed that week or that month or whatever it is, and so you just need to do with what you've got.
That's true.
And it's super difficult. I don't think we'll ever get to a place where the industry is perfect when it comes to crunch. It can't happen. I don't think. And so, I think we're going to keep seeing these stories come out, whether it's from Microsoft or Sony or anywhere else, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll get better, right? That's the plan.
Hopefully. That's the plan.
That's the plan.
Anything to add, Crash, before we move on?
Nope.
Cool. E3 confirms Sega, Square Enix, Bandai, and more are all coming to E3 again. Thank goodness. With no more diving in deep on that. We will do an E3 prediction show. Kresh and Matt P Video will be reacting to content over on the My Xbox and Me YouTube channel if they have the time to. I will be live over on.
Book in a special guest MC Fixer for maybe some occasional post.
That sounds amazing.
Post-conference talk.
That sounds amazing. I'd love to be. I'd love to be a guest.
Will get in touch with your people.
Thank you. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, I am a partner Twitch streamer, so I stream live over on Twitch. Just so everyone's aware.
Mr. Stylish asked about E3 predictions. I did mention in the Discord that we'd be doing probably a full episode on that.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
Stay tuned.
Definitely. Konami will be skipping E3, just so we're all aware. So don't be expecting anything from Konami, but Sega, Square Enix, Bandai, and more you can see some from. Go on,
I really, really think Konami announced we're going to E3, and then everybody announced we're going to E3, and Konami was like, we're not going to E3, boys.
Did they actually come out and say they were going to be at E3?
Yeah, they were the first lot of people that got announced for E3.
Hilarious. I suppose
Yeah.
Pro Evolution Soccer will show up somewhere. They're like, we didn't really skip. We were there. What are you talking about? Next big piece of news that actually matters to me, though I haven't finished the game, which I'm getting to that point. I'm becoming a crush. That upsets me a lot. Yakuza series will be going back to turn-based. Did anyone play Yakuza Like a Dragon? Crash, you played it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good game. Matt, did you never play it?
I've never touched a Yakuza game.
If it comes to Game Pass, play it. Though I would love you to buy it, but I don't think you will. So, and I don't think it's worth the risk if it's not your type of game. But oh my god, it's so good.
It is. Me and Fix have talked about it before. Super iffy going into it.
Yep.
We don't know if we're gonna like it. Haven't played Yakuza.
Same.
It looks like a weird type of RPG game.
Yep.
It looks like a weird mix of everything. It works out so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a really dumbed down. If you like X and Y, you will like Yakuza.
Do you like Persona?
I've never touched Persona.
Do you like RPGs, JRPGs, turn-based RPGs?
I'm dabbling in Final Fantasy VII Remake at the moment and not thoroughly enjoying it.
Perfect. Whoa! What do you mean you're not enjoying it?
Okay. Can we get Matt off this podcast?
Man, you got some terrible opinions. That's why I keep you around. You keep me grounded. I think if you enjoy it's the perfect game to not think and just experience this story. So you want to hear us?
Game?
No,
not
a podcast game. Very, very, very long cutscenes. Okay, if you're not into that, don't even worry about it.
You're not selling me on it, guys.
It might not be for you. It's just not for you. It's just not for you. But I am super excited the fact that they're going back to turn-based in the next game. I think it's in the new game, Lost Judgment, which just got announced as the sequel to Judgment. I've got Judgment, not had a chance to play it yet. But yeah, go on, please.
Lost Judgment isn't going to be turn-based.
Oh, it's not.
So Judgment is going to take the traditional
the
Yakuza
next game
gameplay.
After that.
Yeah, the next Yakuza game is going to be turn-based. And then Judgment's going to be taking the old Yakuza style of gameplay and just giving it going forward with that.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so they don't like alienate their old fans, but the people who came in for Yakuza Like a Dragon,
almost like Resident Evil, right?
Yeah,
almost. It's coming full circle.
It hurts. We're gonna skip the Ubisoft announced free-to-play Division Heartland, which is a brand new Division game. They've also announced a mobile title, a film, a TV show. They're everywhere with this damn thing. They were like, all right, this has worked. We're gonna make some money off this damn thing. So that is coming soon. Which is
Division is a big enough name to carry all that. To be honest with you,
I don't think it is.
Well,
I think they want it to be.
They want it to be. I don't think it is big enough, personally. Last piece of news that we have to touch on because Kresh is probably so excited, and I'm so happy for him, personally. And you can go off, my friend. Iron Galaxy would love to work on Killer Instinct again. Talk to me, Kresh, when you saw this one.
Oh my god. I saw this. I was so excited. People who don't know, I love Killer Instinct. I think the last Killer Instinct might be the best fighting game at the moment. I think still.
Wow.
Just in terms of what it's done for fighting games and what it tried to do, I don't think there's many fighting games who have touched that and reached that level of it. I think there's games that have tried to. I think underrated game is the Power Ranger fighting game that came out. Super slept on. I think that did really cool things for fighting games. But that's beside the point. I would love for this to happen. Iron Galaxy worked on season 1, not season 1. Season 2 and season 3 of Killer Instinct and some post season 3 stuff. And they announced way back that they're still working on Killer Instinct stuff, which didn't end up being true. And I hold that against you, Iron Galaxy. I will always hold that against you. I think I predicted for 3 years that they were going to announce something for Killer Instinct off of that statement.
Yep,
that prediction's not going anywhere.
E3, Kresh is there. Kresh is there just like, it's going to be, it's this year. It's this year. I can feel it. This is just a tease, Kresh. This is just a tease. I'm just seeing people get hyped. That's all. People like you, my friend. People like you.
I would love for this to happen. I do know they're working on Xbox One, Xbox Series, and a PS5 game or something along those lines. I don't know exactly what it is. I would love to see this happen. I think it is a perfect match and a perfect fit.
Game Pass now as well.
Yeah, the season-based. We've talked about it, but Killer Instinct was way ahead of its time.
Ahead of its
for the
time.
season-based stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. I would love to see this happen. Phil, Microsoft, get to making it happen. I don't know if there's any like logistics as to why it can't happen.
Yep.
Or anything like that, but I would really, really love to see this happen. I think they're the perfect studio for it.
I'm happy for you. I think it's going to happen. I do actually think it's going to
hope so.
happen.
I think it's too perfect for it not to happen, right?
Agree. Last news story: Xbox Game Pass games being added in May. You have Dragon Quest Builders 2. I bought this game on the Switch, and what a game it is! Very, very fun. Very, very fun. Great game. FIFA 21 is now part of Game Pass. Outlast 2, Steep, which is a terrible game. Final Fantasy X/X2 HD Remake. Chris, you know I'm a new Final Fantasy fan. Is that any good? Is that worth playing?
I like Final Fantasy X. I like Final Fantasy X. It's turn-based.
Okay.
There's a lot of
That's
reading.
Right. No, I'm out. Okay, thank you.
I don't think it's for you. If they ever remake it, I think you'd enjoy it. Like, I think you would overall enjoy the story that's there.
Yeah.
I just don't think the game is for you.
To be fair, my reading's come a long way in the last 5 years. A long way.
Try it. It's on Game Pass.
Nah, I'm too busy.
But old.
Just Cause 4 is coming May 13th. Psychonauts is coming May 13th. And Red Dead Redemption Online is coming May 13th as well.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Some decent games coming to Game Pass. Dragon Quest Builders being the big one there for me, honestly. Like, that was on PlayStation and Switch, and I was just like, why did that never come to Xbox? I would have bought that on Xbox. So I bought it on Switch, and then, like, Haley played it. She enjoyed it. I played it. We played it in Egypt. So that was our game.
Similar to Yakuza, give me a little dum-dum pitch. If you like X and Y, you'll like Dragon Quest Builders 2.
RPGs and Minecraft.
For you. I never played it. Do you like Minecraft? Do you like Dragon Quest?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, I've never played Dragon Quest, but maybe I'll try it. Is it on Xcloud?
I don't know.
Play on my phone.
Don't know. Have you done much Xcloud as of lately?
No, not really.
No.
I only have the one Xbox controller at the moment. One of mine broke. So the idea of unsyncing that from my S and syncing it to my phone kind of just is a pain in the bum. And so no, I haven't touched it too much, to be honest with you. But I need to. I want to.
Do you need another controller
on it? I mean, if you've got one of many lying around and you want to send it off, I'll pay for the postage. We can talk about this off podcast.
Yeah, this is the content they come for. This is what they come for.
This is the TikTok highlights that you
May's Games with Gold. Amelo, May 1st to May 31st. Armello. Dungeons 3, May 16th to June 15th. Lego Batman, the video game, May 1st to May 15th. And Tropica 4, May 16th to May 31st.
Lego Batman.
This is a crap month as per usual.
Yeah,
Stop it.
Don't give them any leeway with this one.
It's better than last month.
Facts.
It's a 360 game.
It's still better than last month. 360 game.
Being better than last month doesn't make you relevant.
When you see what PlayStation's been getting as well, you're like, oh,
but PlayStation don't have Game Pass, so fuck them.
They got PlayStation now.
Yeah, but here's why that doesn't work. Because PlayStation Plus is comparable to Xbox Live and not comparable to
True.
Game Pass.
True.
You're comparing two different services. You're like, let me add some sprinkles on top on Xbox's side, and like, look, Xbox is better.
I'm not trying to give them a pass. I'm just saying it's better.
Sounds like you are.
You're trying to give them a Game Pass. I get it.
Crash, you won today. Congratulations. Let's plug, and get ourselves out of it, boys. Crash, starting with you. Where can people find you?
Twitter.
Jesus Christ.
Smashed it.
Do you know what upsets me? You know what? We're going to Crash last from now on, because if we want to get something plugged on this show, they get to you and then they go, okay, I'm just going to click off. Let me know in the comments below and on my Twitter at MCFixer, tweet at me, #MXAM, if you make it to an end of a show. I'd love to know how many people actually get here.
Give them a little code word to tweet at you so you know that they actually made it.
I like that. I like that. Potato. Matt P, where can people find you? Nope, shut up, Crash.
Just follow the My Xbox Me TikTok account, please. My God.
Matt, you're killing it though, bro.
Well, we're having some weird ones, right? We've had 2 videos go up in the past week that have got under 10 views, and I don't know why. One of them was just me getting excited about Resident Evil Village, like 5 views. What's going on? TikTok? What's going on? We shadow banned.
Oh yeah, I have seen that.
Bizarre. I don't understand it at all.
One,
But,
the butt
yeah.
one got 18, no, 13. Is that 13 or 18? And yeah, you being happy for Villagers got 5.
I know. What is that about?
I have a question. Can you actually be on TikTok if you haven't been shadow banned?
That's true. That's true. I should
feel
just
like
make a
everyone's shadow-
TikTok about us being shadow banned.
All
and
I'm
that'll
saying
just
is-
us to
They're
be-
trying to shut down Xbox on TikTok.
All I'm saying
I
is,
like it.
facts.
I go through and like every single one and comment on every single video that I can. I try my best to. Do you, Matt P?
No, because I'm making them.
Yeah, but
I
you
feel
should
like-
you should go on your main because the algorithm gods. That's the algorithm gods want you need to go on your account, like it. Maybe don't drop a comment, but you could like it. Kresh,
Oh,
are
I
you
like
doing that?
That Mappy guy's really cool.
I do that. I do that. Did you not see it?
handsome
I did that on my
man.
GTV episodes. On my GTV episodes, I remember Potato tweeting me.
Nobody
And-
else is here now.
No
This
way.
does
There's
us
no
three
way
on the
anyone's
chat.
here.
There's
But my
nobody
GTV
anyone's
come out, and I literally all of the accounts, my Xbox and me account, more MC Fixer account, and my main account, just like this guy's really cool. I like him.
Should
I
have
don't
them
care.
all in a chain complimenting
That would have
and
been
just go
dope.
back
responding to
and
each
forth.
other.
That would have been dope. Yeah, thank you all for watching once again. We do appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe if you did make it to the end, and make sure you like. And yeah, until next time. What? I'm not going back to you. What?
You didn't plug in your own stuff.
You know where I am at MC Fixer. Until next time, we'll love you, leave you. See you later. Potato.
Love you, bye.
You know?